And Baker, it is just 2 days after Election Day, and the presidential race is still up in the air. President Trump has already filed lawsuits in Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Michigan. Joe Biden has won the state of Michigan, pushing him that much closer to 270. Joining us now is Jocelyn Benson, the Secretary of State of Michigan. Secretary Benson, great to have you with us on the show today. I do want to start with the latest. When can we expect more updates and a final vote count from your state?
Well, the tabulation has completed last night. We announced that, and at this point, then all the final bookkeeping happens. Those reports then go to the counties. We have 83 counties that oversee our over 1,500 jurisdictions. And then as the county now completes their canvass, they'll certify the results at the local level, make sure all the procedures were followed correctly. And then that goes up to the state level. There's a state board of canvassers who will certify the count. That'll all be happening in the next 12 days or so. And those will become the official results for the state of Michigan.
And Secretary, meanwhile, we know that the Trump administration has filed a lawsuit against Michigan to essentially stop the vote count, questioning the integrity of the elections in Michigan. What does that do for sentiment of residents of Michigan? And what are you trying to do to ensure that residents are confident in the election system in the state?
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, what this is really about is more of a political strategy or partisan effort to sow seeds of doubt amongst our voters about the integrity of our elections process. But the bottom line is we've got 1,500 clerks all throughout the state at the city and township level who worked tirelessly for months to ensure every strict protocol that we've got in place under the law here in Michigan was met. We saw record numbers of people voting in this year's election, record numbers of people voting absentee. And through that process, our clerks rose and met every challenge, ensuring the tabulation process that occurred over the course of about 48 hours in the state of Michigan, even less than that, was efficient, it was smooth, it was methodical, and it was secure. And the results are now accurate and an accurate reflection of the will of the people. Every step of that process was done with full transparency with folks from both sides who had ample access to observe the process. So we're going to stand by all that facts and evidence and data and continue to tell that story to the people of Michigan and the people of the country.
Secretary, thank you for laying out the protocols that you have had in place, but you have said that this lawsuit is frivolous, is meritless, but President Trump himself has a very giant megaphone when he continues to tweet about this, tweeting things like they are finding Biden votes all over the place in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, so bad for our country. Are you worried that this kind of rhetoric, even these tweets, erode the confidence that residents of Michigan have in the election system? And are you planning to do anything to just combat the messaging that we are seeing from the Trump administration?
Yes, I mean, certainly this is an example of the very type of misinformation and disinformation that is the biggest threat to the security of our elections this cycle. And we've noticed that throughout. It's why we ask citizens to email anything that they see to misinformation@michigan.gov so that we can debunk it. Our Twitter feed, it's at MishSOS, has consistently, particularly today, as this misinformation escalates by the hour, it would seem, continue to debunk and all of the false information out there with facts and with data. And on top of all that, we've set up a website, michigan.gov/election security, which we launched a few months ago to continue to proactively tell the story about the security of our elections and then also respond to any false allegations that are out there. The bottom line is no one should be surprised that this is happening. Disappointed? Yes. Surprised? No. And we've had a protocol in place to ensure that though we knew foreign actors, domestic actors, all across the board may try to throw mud and sow the seeds of doubt amongst our voters about the integrity of the process, we've been resolute. We've counted every vote securely. We've made sure every valid vote counts and only valid vote counts. And now, again, we have a tabulation, unofficial results going through the process of becoming official that truly are an accurate reflection of the will of our voters here in Michigan.
Secretary, as you mentioned, you had anticipated some of these kinds of questions, and that's why you put in these protocols around transparency. But I do wonder, do you have any regrets from this election cycle? Is there anything you would like to do differently for future elections, whether it's midterms, local elections, or even, say, the next presidential election?
Well, certainly it's a new day for democracy in Michigan, and the fact that we were able to rise to the challenge with record-breaking voter turnout, so many people voting through the mail or absentee and dodge every potential challenge that came our way and adapting and really succeeding so that we could have a smooth process at the end of the day. It's a great success story. I think moving forward, we want to ensure that if we need to continue to modernize our laws here in our state, which was one thing that we would love to see, more partners from the state legislature recognizing the need to continue to protect and modernize a lot of aspects of our elections here in Michigan. That's what I'd like to see moving forward. I certainly wish, in terms of regrets, I wish our state legislature had done more to partner with us and our local clerks to provide more resources and support as we enter this really momentous historic election. But my hope moving forward is that we'll be able to come together and with our clerks consistently and continually work with our legislature to improve our laws so that our voters have an even smoother process moving forward.
You talked about resources to try to combat misinformation, but we've also seen some protests. We've seen people claim that the vote is being stolen, stop the steal, that kind of rhetoric. What are you doing to make sure you are protecting those physically, the residents of Michigan, those who have counted the votes, the ballot workers? What are some of those protections that have been put in place and that you plan to continue moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, look, here in Michigan, we're hardy. We are strong, and to anyone showing up at outside absentee counting board at TCF in Detroit, if they really thought they were going to be able to successfully intimidate or stop the process from happening securely and transparently as it was, they don't know Detroit. As you saw, and as the nation saw, our bipartisan group of election workers in TCF Arena continued to do the work, continue to count every vote, and that's really who we are in Michigan. We stay focused on the work, we block out the noise, and we just make sure, in this case, every valid vote is counted, and our heroic election workers who are on the front lines of that work are now, I hope, getting some well-earned rest because they truly accomplished a tremendous feat, much more efficiently and quickly than we had anticipated, but again, following every rule and being methodical and transparent every step of the way. So now I'm hoping they're getting rest and secure, and of course, we're grateful for those in law enforcement and our Attorney General who continue to keep us all safe here in Michigan.
Thank you so much again for your time this afternoon. That's Jocelyn Benson, Michigan's Secretary of State. Thanks again.